What is going on, everybody? My name is Jay, and I'm here back with Mike and DHaus for another episode of The Wild Wormhole. This is episode 3, really episode 4, but we all know that whatever I did with episode 0 nonsense that happened, we can talk about that later. Let's just pretend this is episode 3, okay? It is time for us to take back our spot as the number 1 KeyForge podcast in existence, as it should be. How are you guys doing? It's been a long time.
It has.
About 47 years.
Exactly 47
About
years.
47 years. That sounds about right.
Yep.
So, Mike went to tournaments. We got the game released. We got all our cards finally. I had some, but now everyone has cards. We're finally getting a good taste for what the game's like. Decks are popping up. We know what deck, levels of decks we want to see, decks we don't want to see. A lot has happened. Hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
So
It
what
feels
we're going to
weird.
start with today is going to be our second impressions, because when the game came out, or not the game came out, but when decks were released at Gen Con, we had decks on TTS. We kind of got our first impressions of the game, first impressions of the decks that were out at the time. Now there's way more decks in existence, and we kind of want to give our second impressions of how we feel about the game, what we've learned about the game with the new decks that have come out and all that kind of stuff. So we'll start with DHaus. DHaus, what are some of your second impressions that you've gotten as the game has released?
Yeah, so when KeyForge got announced, we went pretty strong on the content and started pumping out episodes. And then we sort of cooled a little bit, and we got a lot of comments from people like, did you guys die already? Is it over? Different comments like that. It's like, no, we're not done. We're just hibernating until the game actually releases, because there's also a limit of content that you can really produce without the game actually releasing.
Yeah.
And especially with how far in advance FFG did it. And I think it literally, with how long it was between Gen Con and the release, I think it was like as long as it possibly could go before people would just like lose interest in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's so much time. So
I wonder if they had planned for it to release sooner and then just kind of were like, it'll be all right. Just release them, throw some decks out at Gen Con or something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Who knows with FFG?
Yep.
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. Or if there was a plan at all. But yeah, so we took our time to like, hey, let's embrace the release. Let's play some more games. Let's hold the cards in our hands, and create these like second impressions. So for me, it's been really interesting. Releasing the game had pre-release, several pre-releases around here, and several release parties, which for our city of 200,000 people was pretty significant. That we got multiple release parties and multiple stores supporting it, and they all seem to want to support it. So we'll see how that goes. But I think my biggest second impression is how interested non-gamers are in KeyForge.
Oh, for sure.
Totally.
And by that I mean I have friends who that I've known for years, and we maybe played a board game here or there throughout the years, like Catan, but nothing like Destiny or X-Wing or any of these normal FFG games. But these friends, I said, hey, try this game. Well, I had my proxy decks, which I finally took apart today. Got rid of those stupid pieces of paper, and we played some KeyForge, and then the game launched, and I mean they were in the door first thing the day of the launch buying product. One guy was like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy one deck and do that, and then he ended up buying like a starter set and multiple decks. Like he just was super interested, and these are guys that don't normally play these games, and so I am very intrigued at what this game is gonna do to the casual gamer, and how successful this game is going to be on the kitchen table, let alone official organized play tournaments. I have a feeling, my gut is that this game will be played more at the kitchen table than like official OP tournaments.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But who knows?
Or even just like weekly nights where you just get together and play at the game store or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, we already have a group that of at least like 10 people that I know that are going to be like at the shop every Wednesday night playing. Including like my brother, my cousin, my cousin's like friend, like a couple other friends that normally wouldn't play these kinds of games, or like this is kind of their first entrance into sort of a I don't want to call it collectible, but some kind of like hobby game, like a lifestyle game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
which is cool because it doesn't have to be a lifestyle game.
Right. No, absolutely. It's so accessible to people. And as of this recording, there's been 165,000 decks opened, which is just insane.
Oh man, that's a lot of decks. It's not even a drop in the ocean when it comes to that huge number that they dropped on us in that first article, but it's still a lot of decks.
It feels so big.
And there's multiple reports of like stores being sold out of product and they're trying to get more.
Yeah.
And so I hope we don't see any supply issues the way that we did with like Destiny, where it was months before we got more product. We don't have any shortage here.
Yeah, same.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I've been able to, I haven't had a problem yet. And the
I haven't
places
had a
that did
problem
sell
yet.
out, like got new product pretty quickly.
Yeah. But I haven't bought a ton of decks. I think I have 8 decks, and like I feel like that's enough for me right now.
Yeah.
The amount that I play, like 8 decks is more than plenty. And I don't feel like the need to, like, I want to buy more just to open packs or whatever because of that, that itch you get. But I don't feel like I have to. Like when I was first started playing Destiny, it was like, oh, I got to get every card in every set, or every card in this set to be able to play. And I don't feel that urge that I need to go get every card because then I could be competitive.
Yeah,
it's
that's
different.
like one of the beauties of the sort of like release format, and just the fact that like you buy a deck, you play that deck. Like the fact that there's no deck building, it makes it just infinitely easier to like get into because you don't have to worry about collecting anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it's awesome.
I personally own 6 decks and I feel overwhelmed already. Like I'm like, I don't have enough time to play these 6. Like I cannot go buy more, even though I want to buy more. I'm like, I need to sit and play these, learn these, figure out what I have. Cause I had 2 and then I bought a 3rd and I was like, okay, this is good. And then I forgot I pre-ordered 3 online just in case there was a product shortage that came in yesterday. And so I got to open them today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to keep all this straight in my head?
Yeah. I mean, it like I have too many decks and it's very overwhelming, like which one I'm going to try next and like play, and opening them, sleeving them. Like this is a personal problem, but like I definitely bought too many too quickly, and now it's like I'm torn between still wanting to buy more decks and then also like getting rid of a bunch
and not
so that I
buying
only
them.
have a few.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I didn't buy a big whole 12-pack case thing because I feel like I don't need that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to touch on how accessible it is, at our release event, we brought like 8 or 9 people with me, friends and family and stuff. And one of the guys that I brought, he loves board games. He's a diehard Euro gamer. He likes Uwe Rosenberg, Stefan Feld, Agricola, Caverna, all that kind of stuff. So it's not card games. It's like Euro games.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played a card game in like 19 years. And he came with me and he had an absolute blast.
Awesome.
And he loves how accessible it is. And that's how awesome that KeyForge is for the casual player. Cause that right there.
Yep. I love it. Any other second impressions, or do you guys want to move on?
I think we can move on.
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Cool. So what's cool about a game like this and the amazing reach the game has is there are a lot of intelligent people out there creating tools for guys like us to be able to use for a lot of different ways. The guy's a lot smarter than me that I'd have no idea how they even do some of this stuff. But basically we want to let the public know, if you're listening to this, if you don't know about some of these things, we want to let you know. So Mike, why don't you hit that first tool available for KeyForge players?
Yeah, so a lot of these are made possible because of the app and because there are like API like I don't know, like hookups to the app and like all of the decks that are in like that database. So I I have no idea how that works, but it is awesome and allows for some really cool tools. So the first one that I wanted to talk about was this KeyForge deck analyzer at burgertokens.com. And so they've basically built this program that allows you to like input a deck name if it's registered, and it'll automatically like bring in all the cards in that deck. And then it'll break your deck down into how many creatures, how many actions, how many artifacts. And then they'll also break it down by like what those cards do. Like cards that give you bonus to Amber, cards that allow you to do house cheating, like, you know, readying and fighting with a card of any house when you're in Brobnar or whatever. Like cards that allow you to control your opponent's Amber. And they even break it up like stealing, capturing, and then like your opponent just losing Amber. So it's a really, really cool way to just get a snapshot of like what your deck can do, and just like what kinds of like play styles you might want to lean towards with that deck. Yeah, really, really cool tool.
Yeah.
I wonder what the algorithm is for like determining how good it is compared to other decks.
Yeah, this one doesn't really spit out like a value necessarily. There are certain stats like where it'll give you sort of like where your deck sits on the average of decks. So it's like I'm looking at a deck right now. It has 14 bonus Amber, and it looks like it's, you know, just past the bell curve of like average. So it doesn't necessarily attempt to tell you how good your deck is. It just kind of breaks everything down in a way that's easy to view, and kind of like takes a lot of the work out of you, like sorting all the cards out and seeing it that way.
Yep. So very similar to that tool. There's another one. It is very comparable, I feel like, but I don't know. So it's called the KeyForge Compendium.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're, I know it's you know, if you're typing this out, keyforge-compendium.com/dex. If you go there, I know it's whatever.
/KeyForge / sanctum.
If you go there and import your deck, it will actually give you sort of like scores in each of these categories. So this also works in the KeyForge, the general KeyForge Discord channel. There's a deck list discussion.
I've seen
and there's
that. I don't understand it, but I've seen it.
Yeah, so basically you type in this. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy, so I don't know what these things. Jay would probably know all the words because he's a nerd like that. But basically, you type this in, and then it gives you an immediate grade on your deck in 4 different categories, and then also in comparison to other decks. And so there's the 4 categories are basically Amber. It's a ranking of approximation how much Amber your deck will generate with minimal piloting. A lot of cards can create more Amber than this projects, but few will do less, is how it explains it. And then, so that's the A. The B is for board, how you control the board. C is for Amber control, the way you control your opponent's Amber supply. And then efficiency, which says it's basically about your cards, drawing cards, activating cards from other factions, things like that. And then consistency. And so if you type this in, it'll actually show you your grade in each of these categories and how it stacks up compared to like other decks. And so it's one of those, like, if you like stats and numbers specifically, you can see specifically like, oh, you're really strong maybe on like the board control, but you're really weak in like Amber control or something like that. So you can kind of compare. And it honestly, I did it with one of my decks, and it helped me kind of get a little bit of clarity as far as where my deck is strong. And I sort of like looked at it because I'd only played it once and realized, hey, this deck is one of those decks that really wants to rush and reap quickly and try to forge as fast as possible. If the game goes long and the opponent's board gets out of control, I'm going to have no answers for it, basically. So I have to go quick. But again, it's just another tool. You can use it in the Discord channel or in your URL, either way. The Discord is super fast because like the bot literally just responds with your grade immediately once you type it in. So
yeah, that's a really cool tool. I would be kind of dubious to put too much stock in it.
Yeah,
just because
sure.
You know, like a deck, you know, plays how a deck plays, and I'm not convinced that, you know, just like an algorithm can tell you, you know, like how much potential it really has. But I like maybe to a certain extent, it can tell you like which decks you should like start, you know, trying. Like if I was using this, I would use it to like I have like 20 decks now. And so I'd probably use this to see kind of like which of those decks has the highest ratings and then try those out myself to see, like how I should be playing it.
And
Right.
like it can't take into consideration combos and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for a lot of the stuff that it's good for. I feel like you can kind of see yourself anyway, though, because like the amber generation on your cards. I mean, you can see how many you already have and how many board wipes and stuff like like that you have. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'd like to. I'm gonna go look at the algorithm and stuff that they have, that they use for it, and see what I can see.
Yeah,
find out.
you can explain it to us next time.
Real quick before we move to the next one, if you guys haven't checked out the Wild Wormhole channel, Mike did a review of the Team Covenant tokens that you need to go watch right now.
Yeah, those.
So
He's talking about YouTube.
Pause this. Go look at it. Huh?
You said channel. You didn't say YouTube. He's talking about YouTube.
Oh yeah, YouTube channel. Sorry.
Yeah, hey, and
Excuse
we
me.
now have YouTube / the Wild Wormhole. So
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go. Go check it out.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
all right. So the next tool, it's not. I kind of hesitate to call it a tool, but it's just something that is pretty cool, and I find sort of useful if you're looking for a specific deck. Is at toywiz.com. They have they've opened a bunch of decks. They've opened like 400 decks. A bunch of them are like already sold, so it makes more sense to me if they would just remove those, but kind of have to sort through those. But basically you can type in and like filter by like specific cards that you want in a deck, and then you can look for the ones that they have available to sell and kind of do it that way. So like right now my sort of dream deck is some kind of like really crazy like key abduction combo deck. So I've been just like searching like frantically for decks with like Battlefleet +2 key abductions, or like just like weird stuff that'll let me forge like multiple keys in one turn. I haven't found anything on this site yet, but when they keep updating it, it's like if you're looking for something very specific, you can be that specific and get an answer back on whether or not they have something like that, which is a lot easier than just browsing like eBay auctions, looking for one that you actually want.
It's weird to me how they determine the worth of decks, how much they should be sold for.
Yes,
like
for sure.
like 4 Horsemen decks going for so much money, and then it doesn't even feel like those are amazing decks.
Mm-hmm.
So, and can we talk about that double Horseman deck that sold for like $2,000?
That's pretty insane. I do though. I do think that the double Horseman deck is like significantly better than a single Horseman deck.
Oh yeah,
because Horsemen of Death brings back 7 Horsemen at that point, which is a lot.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love this. I'm like looking through because my ideal is like DHaus Untamed, and so I'm just looking through the options. I'm looking at the one deck that costs $50, and I'm like, is this worth $50? Like, holy cow!
Yeah.
Except I'm super confused because it has 13 untamed cards, and I'm like, I don't.
Oh, weird. Oh, one of them must be a Maverick, and that's probably why it's $50.
Oh, that's probably right.
Yeah.
So I was like, this doesn't make, because there's only 11 Shadows cards. I don't know. Anyways, that's a cool tool if you really want to get specific and look for specific combos.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Last tool that I just want to make sure people know about. I think a lot of people know about it, but it's an online web browser based way to play this game called The Crucible. It's just thecrucible.online, and you can import your own decks under your profile, so you can actually play your own decks online against people.
So cool.
And all of the rules and sequencing is coded in, so it sort of triggers automatically. It's not perfect. Every once in a while there might be a bug or two that gets reported, but the guy who like basically created this is like working his tail off to make it happen. And I don't know if he has a Patreon somewhere, but if he does, we should definitely promote it, because the guy is working so hard to make it so people can play
and a
digitally,
lot of people
since
use it.
FFG has not figured out that they could make even more money by having a digital way to play this game.
No, they've been working on Lord of the Rings card game digital. Calm down. They got to finish that first.
Yeah. But it's so funny because I still play a lot of Warhammer Champions on the app, and it's just so easy to play that game. I'm like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
To be able to play KeyForge this way.
It's like the rule set is really set up to do that too. So
yeah.
So, but anyways, head out there. It's the site has been. It's had such a surge of interest and people playing on it. The servers have gotten kind of bogged down a little bit. So it's experiencing some growing pains, but I know they're actively working on it and trying to find solutions. But just want people to know, and maybe we'll potentially have some gameplay videos from that specifically going up at some point. But we'll see. I haven't actually played a game on there myself. I haven't had time to do that, but I'm looking forward to trying it.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very
I haven't
cool.
played on there yet either, but definitely seems like a fun thing to do when I can't actually get friends together to play in person.
Yeah, and just to grind out games with your deck to try to learn it. I feel like that's the biggest thing for me is like, just grabbing a deck and be like, I have this amount of time. Let me try to grab a game or something like that. But
yeah.
All right, let's move on. Mike, you actually already had a tournament today.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There were 6 people there, so it wasn't gigantic. I don't think they really promoted it that much either, so I wasn't that surprised to not see that many people. But everybody that was there was super into it, and everybody had a great time, especially me because I won.
Yay, Mike!
Congratulations!
I guess you can continue to host on this podcast.
What'd you win?
I won some store credit, so I bought 2 more KeyForge decks.
Hey,
it's a drug.
Yeah. So the deck that I brought, if you guys want to look it up in the app.
I do.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's the Mechanical Baron of Thorsholm, and that's Thorsholm. SHOLM. I'm sorry.
And people in the audience can look it up.
Yeah,
right now,
exactly.
too.
It's
I like this.
Yeah, there's so many ways to interact with the decks in this game. It's so cool. But yeah, so this is a Brobnar Shadows Untamed deck, and it is disgusting. So
just to be clear, this was a bring a deck and play, not a sealed event.
Yes.
Okay.
Although I'm much more excited about the sealed events than the bring a deck. And the event that I'm the most excited for, that I hope that people will actually start doing, is the bring your worst deck and give it to your opponent format, because that just sounds like a blast. Yeah, so this deck, it has bait and switch, so it's automatically a good deck, right?
Of course.
But like the things that I was able to do today was one game my opponent had 2 creatures on the board and a Lash of Broken Dreams, and I had a Witch of the Eye out, and so I would reap with the Witch of the Eye and bring back Nocturnal Maneuver and exhaust both of his dudes. And so it's like he had to go disc to play the Lash, or to exhaust the Lash so that I couldn't forge. But I just kind of stalled him out in that way. He ended up with like not enough to do, and like not enough creatures to put on the board where I couldn't just exhaust all of them, and then he couldn't kill the Witch of the Eye. Ended up winning off that. And then in another game, I played 3 bait and switches.
Wow.
One just naturally, one off of a Witch of the Eye, and then one off of a Nepenthe Seed. And I think Nepenthe Seed is like the most underrated card in the game right now. I think it is
so good.
So good. I think that's probably the best card in this deck, or like at least close to the best card in this deck.
You're not allowed to use Witch of the Eye against me ever again.
Yeah, after that one game.
Wait, real quick, let's make good radio. Nepenthe Seed is an artifact for Untamed. It's an item. It has an Omni effect. It says sacrifice Nepenthe Seed, return a card from your discard pile to your hand. So basically on any turn, no matter what the house is, you can use this to get your best card out of your discard pile and play it.
Yep, exactly. So it's like you're in the Shadows house already. It has Omni. So I just, crack it, bring back bait and switch, and then bait and switch. It was crazy. My opponent played the Sting, which is a card that, like when I forge a key, he gets all that amber, but he skips his forge key step. So he forced me
and then you have to take an action to discard.
Yeah, to discard it, exactly.
Sting.
So he forced me to forge a key at 7. He got 7 of my amber after I forged. And then he had to wait to, like, he had to take the turn to use the action to remove the artifact so that he could actually forge. And then on my turn, I brought back the bait and switch him and got back like 8 amber.
Oh,
And it was nasty.
That's gnarly, dude.
Yeah,
you've got some good consistency in here. In Brobnar, you've got 3 Gauntlet of Command, an artifact that says action ready and fight with a friendly creature. Seems pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's really good, especially with the War Chest, which gives you amber when you like kill your opponent's creatures in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
This rock hurling giant is so awesome. It's
that's the first time I've seen him.
It's so good. It's like he's 6
I
power.
hate that guy.
And whenever you discard a Brobnar card from your hand, you just deal 4 damage to a creature.
Yeah,
it's so good. And you can do it multiple times in a turn too. So if you have like
it's awesome.
some creatures you're not going to play, or you already have 2 Gaunts of Command, you don't necessarily need the third one. You just toss those out and just kill some stuff. But like you wouldn't necessarily think that this deck would be able to control the board very well. But with like the Brobnar package, this is actually like my favorite sort of Brobnar setup that I've seen so far, and it allows me to just like really lock down the board just through fighting.
Yeah, you got some good like Relentless Whispers, so you got more damage from that on top of the Rock Hurling Giant and Nerve Blast, and you've got some other damage from other houses as well too,
Totally.
Which helps.
Totally. And I have Carlo Phantom, which is whenever I play an artifact, I get to steal an amber. Yeah, and I have, let's see, 3,
tons.
4, 5, 6 artifacts in this deck. So that's also pretty fun.
Yep. And Mac the Knife. That's the first time I've seen that card. That card's
Mac
really
the Knife
cool.
is really good.
Yeah,
it's
really,
a
really good.
Shadows guy, 3 power, elusive. You can use him as if it belonged to the active house, and he has an action that deals the damage to a creature. If it destroys the creature, gain an amber.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Super good. I would say the worst card in this deck, or at least the card that like does the least and I play the least often, is Word of Returning, which is an action that like deals 1 damage to each creature with each enemy creature with an amber on it, and then you get all that amber back. So I imagine against the right deck, like if I'm playing against like a super like capture heavy Sanctum deck or something like that, it could be good. Yeah. But so far it's the card that has done the least amount of work in this deck.
Sure. Hey, speaking of Nepenthe Seed, I have a deck that has Virtuous Works and Fertility Chant in it.
Oh,
so it's the one I was just talking about. Yeah, it's sort of that rush deck where it just wants to forge keys, like forge the third key by like the 4th round, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like get amber as fast as possible.
Yeah, so Virtuous Works is just a Sanctum card. You get 3 amber. Fertility Chant, you get 4 amber, but your opponent gets 2, so it's a little bit of a trade-off. But I've used the Nepenthe Seed to pull those, like play Virtuous Works, sacrifice Nepenthe Seed, get Virtuous Works back, get 3 more. It's like I got a key, like basically right away. So that card is extremely strong for that Omni effect. Just get anything you need in the moment.
It's so good.
Yeah. So you did your first tournament. Anything beyond just like individual gameplays? Anything you learned about KeyForge, like as far as like bringing a deck and competing for several rounds? Do you feel like you got to know your deck better? Do you feel like that format is going to be appealing for a lot of people?
Oh, definitely. I definitely learned my deck better. By the end, I was much better at playing it than at the beginning. It's just like in this game, it's all about knowledge and all about like. I feel like it really captures sort of like the discovery theme, which is like super heavy in this game. Like the more you play with a deck, the more you play against the deck, the better just you get in general. But it was a cool event. I was surprised that none of the games went to time, and I was happy about that because I've had some KeyForge games that go really long.
How long were the rounds?
35 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of a loose 35 minutes, but everybody was done pretty much in like half an hour each of their games, which was cool. And everybody had fun, and everybody was super friendly. So far, like the community of people that play KeyForge are just awesome people. Probably because it's not necessarily competitive card gamers, like all the time.
Yeah.
So
that's another plus right there, baby.
Yeah. Was there anybody by the end of the tournament who went 0-3 and just said, "This is the worst deck. I'm done with this deck. I'm moving on"?
I don't think so. It was my friend Tom went 0-3. He seemed to still have a great time, and he's coming out to play with us on Wednesday. So
cool.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of like talk around here. Every store around here has been doing sealed events. Like every event has been
that's
sealed.
awesome. I want to do that so bad.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like the majority of the guys that I play with are like, stop. We don't want to play sealed. We want to play
the decks we have.
format. They're like, because a lot of them are just like proud. Like they're like, I'm proud of this thing I own, and I want to see how it does against against the field. And so I was trying to tell them, because they're like, I hate sealed. This is dumb. I'm like, well, I think sealed actually reveals who the better players are, because you can't sort of just phone it in with a really good deck and say, oh, look how good I am at this game. Because like there was one guy like JT, I love him, but he was like 13-0 because he has this insane deck with Dis and Shadows and Logo stat, draws its entire deck with no problem, and has so much control and stealing. Like nobody's been able to beat it. It's insane.
That's what chains are for, man.
And and so he's feeling real good about that thing. And then he played a sealed event and went 0-3, and it was, like everyone was just clowning on him because he was like, I haven't lost at KeyForge, I'm so good. And then he 0-3 this thing. He had a pretty bad deck. I like it just didn't seem really strong, but
it seems fitting though for the occasion.
On the flip side, my buddy Mikhail opened up a really bad deck at sealed. Like he sent it to me, I was like, holy crap! Like I don't know what you even do with that. It was like a Sanctum Brobnar something deck where it's like barely. I think it had like 10 to 12 creatures, and so just very weird for Sanctum Brobnar, who typically want to build a board and fight and shield up and. So it was strange. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, but if you can do well today, that'll prove a lot. And he went 2-1, and I was like, that's impressive for you to be able to do that sealed. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
Nice.
All right, I want to do my favorite deck first.
Yeah, do it.
Well, first, Mike, do you have any other thoughts on the tournament? I don't want to close that off before you.
No, I already talked about my favorite deck, which is the one that I brought to the tournament. So you guys go ahead.
Okay.
All right, so mine, I haven't scanned it in, so as soon as I get done here, I'm going to go scan it in so you guys can look it up. So they can look it up when they listen. It's going to be done, it's going to be up there by the time you listen. It's called Heaven Springlow Miner. And It's a Brobnar Untamed Shadows deck. I opened it at the sealed release event. I was so stoked to get it. So the first part of it that I really like is that it's got the bear flute with 3 ancient bears.
Dude, that's
which
crazy.
is so wild. It basically, like, if you get the bear flute turn 1, you can play it, and the next turn you get 3 ancient bears from your deck and play all of them.
That's crazy.
And in the same turn, it's so awesome. And then if someone board wipes, you just get the ancient bear flute, get all 3 of your ancient bears back. Dang. And they're not amazing, but when you pair it with my Brobnar side of the board, I have insane creatures to play out and just destroy your side of the board by fighting. It's awesome. It also has 6. I'm gonna go quick. It's got 6 rares in it, or the star, whatever that one is. I think it's rare. Rock Hurling Giant, Key of Darkness, Customs Office, Witch of the Wilds, Bear Flute, and Curiosity. All which are pretty good, not the worst.
Mm-hmm.
The Shadows part of the deck has a bait and switch, and it's got the Key of Darkness.
Nice.
And it's got a Too Much to Protect.
Dude.
All 3, which are really, really good.
That's crazy.
If you don't know, bait and switch lets you steal, and then Too Much to Protect also lets you steal. You can click, if you're looking on it, you can click on the cards in the deck, and it'll show you. It's got 2 Silvertooth, which they come out ready, which that's one of my favorite things to have in KeyForge is when you get to play your guy ready.
Yeah, I love when you have Silvertooth and Silent Dagger in the same deck. And then you just play it and then play the dagger and reap and kill something.
Yep, it's so sick. It's got 2 Urchins, which let you steal 1 for each one you play. It's not the most powerful card, but I think it's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's the Brobnar has Coward's End and Loot the Bodies, and Coward's End is destroy all creatures that are undamaged, and then Loot the Bodies is you gain amber for every opponent's creature that's destroyed. So if you get that combo off, you're getting tons of amber.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the War Chest, Fire Spitter, the Rock Hurling Giant, Gauntlet of Command. It's got a lot of creatures to play, and this deck, if I can get my board state right, I'm just gonna kill every creature that comes out.
That deck sounds nuts, dude.
It's really fun.
Wow.
It's my favorite deck.
Yeah, you need to get that. You need to get that scanned in so I can look at it.
Yeah,
I'll do that as soon as we get done recording. I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Dude, Wish of the Wilds is a really cool card too.
Yeah, I really want to pull
that
that at some point. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
What does it do? What?
It's during each turn in which an untamed is not your active house, you can play one untamed card.
That's right. Right. Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So there you go. That's my favorite deck. Heaven, the
Very
Springlow Miner.
How do you spell that middle part?
Springlow is Springlow.
Okay, just how it sounds. Cool.
There you go. What's your favorite deck, David?
So mine is Robert's the Watcher of Service. So this is Logos, Mars, and Shadows. And it at first I got this and I was going to give it to my wife to play. I was trying to get my wife into KeyForge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played it once. I was like, I don't think I'm going to give this one to her.
Like, yeah, this is mine.
So if you're following along, if you want to look at Robert's the Watcher of Service. So basically what I like about this is Shadows has some great steal. It has bait and switch. It has the Sting, which Mike just talked about, artifact where you skip your forge key step and then you get all amber spent by your opponent when forging keys. Then you have to spend an action to sacrifice it. That's
like one of the most flavorful cards, dude. I love it so much.
I love it too. It has Carlo Phantom, who I just call Carlos every time I play him. And he has Elusive and Skirmish each time you play an artifact, steal one. And then it does have 5 artifacts in this deck.
Nice.
And then the Dipno Spy Master, which is elusive and then has an Omni effect. Choose a friendly creature. You may use that creature this turn, which is super versatile and really strong if you can keep them alive for long. I just love that card. But specifically what I like, so it's just a generic Shadows package, I feel like, that does a lot of stealing and does a lot of its normal tricks. But the Logos and Mars really works well together because, and Mike, you'll appreciate this, Mars has Battle Fleet.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite cards.
Battle Fleet gives you an amber. It's an action where you play, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand. For each card revealed this way, draw 1 card. Now, the great part about this, even if you have 2 Mars cards, you're drawing 2 extra cards. That's still pretty good. We see how good that is with library access. But what's great is Logos has just a crazy amount of archiving. So the Logos cards can archive your Mars cards along the course of the game, and then you can hopefully pick up an archive of 3-4 Mars cards and then drop Battle Fleet. In addition to another card which I played in the same turn, Orbital Bombardment, which gives you an amber. It's a Mars action that says play, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand. For each card revealed this way, deal 2 to a creature. So again, really strong if you have a ton of Mars cards. And then also Mother Gun, which is an artifact. It's a weapon. It has an action, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand, deal damage to a creature equal to the number of Mars cards revealed this way. So ton of Mars effects where if you have a lot of Mars cards, it does a lot of cool things. And then Logos has like 2 sloppy lab works where it just gives you an amber and you play an archive a card, discard a card.
That card's great.
Yes. Super strong.
I like that
one. Yeah.
It's got like the Ganymede Archivist. When you reap, you archive a card.
I have a deck with 4 of those.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Holy cow. That guy with 5 Quixo the Adventurers.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Which seems really good, by the way.
Yeah, it does.
So the Research Smoko, which isn't great, but when it's destroyed, you archive the top card of your deck.
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple different effects. It's got Skippy Time Hog, which is just...
Skippy Time Hog is so cool. It's your opponent can't use any cards next turn. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So good.
It's like so annoying, but yeah.
Dude, all right,
but yeah, that's...
If this deck had Key Abduction instead of EMP Blast, I think it would like almost be my perfect deck.
Yeah, can we talk about how stupid EMP Blast is?
Yeah.
It's just a bad card.
It really is bad. It just doesn't make any sense in Mars, and especially in this deck that you have with a bunch of artifacts.
Yeah.
That's just bad.
It's like that one card in the deck where you're like, why? Like, why are you here? Just go away.
Like unless you have it before you play any Mars creatures or artifacts, you just like discard it every time.
Yeah. By the way, EMP Blast gives you an amber. That's the best thing it does.
Yep.
It's an action and a play effect. Each Mars creature and each robot creature is stunned. Each artifact is destroyed.
I guess like you can discard it with Sloppy Lab Work.
Yeah.
That's like the use for it.
Its value is being another Mars card in your hand for Battlefleet and Orbital Bombardment and Mother
You can
Gun.
always like stun all the Mars creatures and then I was thinking you had Key Abduction. I was gonna say and then you could bounce them back to your hand, but you definitely can't do that.
Yeah.
But with there being 340 cards, only having one that you absolutely can't stand is pretty good. Pretty good.
Solid.
Yeah. I do love having 2 Tunks. I love Tunk. He's a solid little beast where you can get away with a lot of like especially like Tunk and John Smith. Just being able to like do crazy things and then heal Tunk up. It's just really good. So
yeah, John Smith is pretty good because there's some cool combos that work with him where it's like you get to reap with a couple guys and then you play a ready and then you reap with him. You get to stand up another guy and reap. John Smith has some really cool combos. That's the one that lets you, when you reap, you ready a Mars creature or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You ready a non-agent Mars creature, and like most of the Mars creatures have like reap effects and like fight effects, which is cool.
Yeah. I was super sour on Mars with the proxy decks I had. I think they just didn't have any of these like good creatures.
Yeah.
And then after playing Mars a few times, I'm like, okay, like I get it. It plays differently, and there are some really sweet effects if you can pull them off.
It's so
fun. And it's interesting to me every time I see when they do like vote for your favorite house and stuff, and Mars is always at the bottom.
Yeah, it's always at the bottom.
But Mars is probably the most unique to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like play style, it's definitely more. I feel like more. Well, I don't know if I can say this, but to me, it's like you have to work toward a specific plan. Like I said, like if you can archive for a big Mars turn or save your Mars cards so that you have 5 or 6 when you drop some of these. Like there was one time I was playing this where I was able to do Mother Gun to start the turn. I revealed 5 Mars cards, did a bunch of damage, and then I also was able to play Orbital Bombardment, so then I did more damage for each thing in my hand. And I just sort of like wiped his board doing those 2 things. But
yeah. I feel like Mars is like really powerful, but it's very
It requires
hard.
the most setup.
Yeah, it requires the most setup. I think it's the hardest house to play. And I think that it is the easiest house to end up with a deck that doesn't like with a house sort of like with your 12 Mars cards that don't synergize together. I think there's like the biggest opportunity for that.
Yeah,
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, but when it does come together, it's
beautiful,
very powerful. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
Cool.
All right, you guys ready to move on?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, my favorite segment of our show. We introduced this last time or a couple times ago. This segment is called King Potato.
King Potato.
Yeah. Oh, we totally need like an audio clip of someone.
Some kind of theme song.
Yes.
Yeah. So this segment is inspired by a comment that Richard Garfield made in an interview where they were talking about how the computer used the algorithm to generate names for the decks. Which we also learned created some very inappropriate
some very interesting ones
that have been banned, which we'll talk about on a future episode. But the best thing about it is it creates these weird combination of words and phrases that are just really funny. And I think it's one of the things I love most about every time someone posts in a Facebook group or online. Like I always read the name of the deck just to see if it's funny. So one of the deck names that was generated that Richard Garfield loved was King Potato, which sounds hilarious.
Yes.
And so we decided we're gonna have a segment every episode where we're gonna highlight a deck a deck name that just made us laugh that deserved the title of King Potato for the episode. And so today's King Potato is the one and only. Well, it literally is the one and only. The man who believes in dinner.
The man who believes in dinner. I love it.
That's right, people. It's an actual deck that was posted. I wish I knew who posted it. I don't. I apologize if you're out there. But the man who believes in dinner just is an incredible name, because who doesn't believe in dinner? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Savages.
Yeah. Come on.
What
kind of dinner though?
If you're in Europe, what is that a weird
supper
deck name? Yeah.
Supper.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what it's called.
We'll have to ask our friends from Free Man Meta.
Actually, in the South, dinner is like lunch and supper is like dinner.
That can't possibly be true.
It is. People call lunch dinner down here, and supper is like when you eat at night.
You guys are weird.
I know. I don't do it, but you know.
Okay, so the man who believes in dinner, it's something we can all get behind. But part of the fun of this is I'm gonna get Jay and Mike to try to guess, based on the algorithm, what houses are included in this deck, because the names are generated based on something to do with the deck, and some of them are more obvious than others. But I have the deck back in front of me, so each of you are going to independently guess the which houses, and if you get all three, you get 5 imaginary gold stars. How does that sound?
We need some Jeopardy music on while we contemplate.
So right off the bat, the believes kind of makes me think that it has sanctum in it.
Gotta be.
Yeah, and then maybe dinner has something to do with, like, I don't know, untamed is like
me.
kind of feels like the house of dinner, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of it. Like the man who it seems like one that just pops up a lot. I don't know if there's a lot to go on.
I would maybe say Sanctum, Untamed, and Brobnar.
Okay. Giants like to eat. I'm into that.
Okay.
I'm into that.
I think that's what I would go with, because it doesn't sound like aliens and it doesn't sound like demons. So
yeah. Well, I guess you can believe in demons.
And what's the last? What other houses do we have?
We got Logos.
Shadows. Nah, I'm not going with Shadows.
No, I don't. I think I'm going with you, man. I think it's Sanctum, Untamed, Brobnar.
That's what I would say.
I thought you guys were competing here. Are you guys teaming up?
We're just trying to figure it out. If we disagree, we disagree. But
yeah, if we disagree, then it'd be separate. But I think we are on the same trail.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll keep track of each episode if you guys get any right, how many imaginary gold stars you have.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, so are you guys ready to find out what your score was?
That's my final answer. What is Sanctum, Untamed, Brobnar?
Out of 3 possible houses, you guys got 1 correct.
1.
Wow.
Is it the Sanctum?
It was Brobnar.
What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Holy cow.
Come on.
Brobnar is the only one you got correct.
I call shenanigans.
It is.
That is shenanigans.
It is Brobnar, Dis, and Logos.
Wow.
What?
Not what I would have guessed.
See, he did believe in demons.
He did believe in demons. He believes, that there was a Dis, and and the Logos.
The man. No, it would be the AI. The robot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how they got Logos.
If the man was in quotes,
scientist.
I would say it would be Logos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got there, but so 1 out of 3, guys. Good job. You guys are terrible.
Hey, and congrats, I got that one. There you go.
Dope.
There
All
you
right,
go.
that was King Potato. All right, send us off.
That's all right. All right, so man, this has been fun. Thanks for tuning in. If you're looking on YouTube or on your podcasting streaming service, we're glad that you've been a part of this. In the future, we've talked about You might not have all three of us on every episode. Sometimes it's hard to line up 3 schedules to record. And so in the future, we might have just me and Mike, or me and Jay, or Jay and Mike, or whatever.
Or just Jay.
Or just Jay.
You guys want some just Jay,
talking about
you?
how dinner in the South. That's that's the future. No, actually, since you mentioned it, we've also talked about potentially releasing some sort of mini episodes where we take a deck and do a little bit of like a deck review where you can pull it up on the app at home. The great thing is, because of what the app is, it gives us a lot of possibilities and things that we can do where you don't just have to listen to us. You can actually look up exactly what we're talking about and maybe follow along at home, or maybe not when you're driving, but you'll just have to listen really well. Where we might just take a deck and review the cards and basically try to identify what the deck is trying to do. And obviously you at home might not ever play that deck, but by identifying some synergies and combos, you might identify a little bit of the strategy in this game, because there is a lot of strategy and decision making in this game. I think by doing some of these like mini episodes, we might be able to identify what the strategies are between certain houses or different cards that maybe you haven't thought of
For sure.
at home. So be on the lookout for some of those. And if you hate them, you can let us know. That's totally fine. And but we figured we'd be able to maybe generate some more content when we're able to record on our own as well. So anything you guys would add?
No.
No.
Yeah.
You got
Let us know if you guys want
who
it.
believes in dinner. But
Yeah. So thank you.
let us know what Mike.
Let us know if you guys want to see those, and then we'll do them.
They only want to see him from just Jay.
Yeah.
There's one person who
We're gonna
wants
kick
that,
you off
and
the podcast, and the only thing you're gonna do is do solo deck reviews.
But yeah, and if there's other content too, I mean, we're obviously KeyForge is new to all of us, and KeyForge content creation is new. If there's a specific type of content you're looking for, if you really want to see gameplay videos, or if you'd rather not see gameplay, you'd rather hear strategy or whatever, let us know, because we're all ears, and we'd love to hear from the community about what people are actually looking for in content. But
Absolutely.
We're on the social medias. Mike, you want to tell them about the social medias, since you're such a social media guru?
Oh yeah,
You're the guru.
all I do is social media, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know for a fact we're on Twitter. I'm pretty sure we're on Facebook.
Yes.
I think we do Insta.
Do we really?
Yeah.
Nice.
We have it. Yes.
All right. Well, follow us all the places.
Snapchat.
I think everywhere we are / the wild wormhole.
Not
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Is that not on Snapchat?
No.
We can snap you guys pics of like inappropriate deck names.
Ooh. Some deck pics.
Yeah. let us know if you guys want us to snap you some deck pics.
So it
right,
is the
before we
wild
get
wormhole
to-
everywhere except for Twitter. It's just wild wormhole because someone
Nice.
took the wild. I don't know. It's
Someone
weird.
took it?
I guess it wouldn't let us. Wouldn't let us take
That
it.
seems highly improbable.
Well, the internet's a weird place, Mike.
That is true.
it was
that is
tiny.
very true.
Tiny
also,
was mad.
since we're talking about wild wormhole, can we, for a brief moment, just talk about how the first playmat that FFG is releasing as part of their prize kit is
Yes.
the
I
art
need
from
it
Wild
so
Wormhole?
bad.
Yeah, so if you get that, go on, hit me up.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
No, I'm gonna win it. Easy.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's also, I also saw a thread on Facebook where people were debating, like, there was like a poll on the random KeyForge page where people were voting on like the most powerful cards, and Wild Wormhole was like in the top 3, which I was like, hey,
Yeah.
like how
Her
lucky
favorite
did we
card,
get?
I think is what they said.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it, the most powerful, but it's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so much random chance. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You have no idea. It could be great or absolutely terrible.
Dude.
But
Just
that's
like
what's-
this podcast.
Just like this podcast. You have no idea what's going to happen when you hit that play button.
That's funny. I actually, at the release event, I played a wild wormhole into a Coward's End, and I was the only one that had creatures on the board.
Yes.
I was
That's
so
amazing.
pissed.
Oh my god.
So actually, I'll tell this story too. A friend of mine, they were playing in a sealed tournament, and he had a Titan mechanic. And his opponent had 5 amber, and he was going to win next turn because the Titan mechanic was like going to let him forge for 5 amber, and so he attacked with the Titan mechanic so that they took damage, and he killed his own Titan mechanic, and he's like safe now. And then he drops Wild Wormhole. And he gets the amber, plays the top card of his deck. It's Titan Mechanic.
Oh my god.
No way. That's
he
amazing.
He had no way to get rid of it, and so he lost the
That
game because of
sucks.
Wild Wormhole.
That's so good.
Wow.
Like that's perfect. That's,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love that.
There you go.
Awesome. Any final thoughts?
No, I don't have any thoughts.
I'm a machine.
There you go. Well, we need a good outro. I don't have like a line, but you know, go.
May the dice be with. What do you say?
May the
On Jedi
keys
Trials.
be with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that works for this one. We'll have
Go
to think
for
about it and come
forward
back
them
to it.
keys. Oh, you know what we should do? We need to find the best flavor text. I realize there's some really great flavor text in this game that I've not appreciated to the full extent it needs to be appreciated, and so
Agreed.
specifically in the Mars faction.
Yeah, we'll find something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Is there flavor text on Wild Wormhole?
That's a very
Why do you not already know this?
That's a fantastic question. I think that's probably the best
on.
question.
Come on. All right. Well, before we make more fools of ourselves, we need to wrap it up here.
I'm trying to find some here we go. Flavor text on Tunk is who's driving? I thought you were. Let's not tell the elders. Like, what is that? I don't know.
I love it.
But that's the end of this episode for Wild Wormhole, whatever number this is. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.